Welcome to another edition of OnSide SA. Well, we've seen some games come and go. Last one standing's getting down to the real low numbers. The next one's going to start soon. So it's all go, go, go. And Budge, it's good to be back.
Oh, Paul, welcome back, Paul. You know, Bodram was on fire last week. The week prior to that, he was murder, but 4 out of 4 last week, and he made a few rands. So he's disappeared at Cape Town for the King's Plate, but good game.
Good for him. You know, I went to watch my customary soccer matches. I went out to Bournemouth, not Bournemouth, to Brentford, and small, pokey little ground, easy to get in and out of. Okay. Very small crowds, the full stadium, but you know, and they play well on their own ground. But it's when I knew they were playing Liverpool, I said, no, I wouldn't back Liverpool. Yeah. You're not. Ball playing sides aren't going to win there, and they didn't even have Tony, and they're just slinging them, and then Spurs. We could have got ahead at home. There was a great atmosphere, but at the end of the day, we were too defensive. Yeah,
pretty costly for us, Paul. But anyway, what can we do? Yeah, it's,
so last one standing, Budge. I see there's week 10 and 11.
Paul, yeah, we had a weekend and obviously midweek. So the guys will all be in tears this morning waking up. But what can we do? That's how it is.
So week 10, 13 went through. 12 Fulham, 1 Man United. And then Aston Villa took 8, Southampton took 1, West Ham took 1, United went through with 2, and not Forest. Someone had not Forest.
Can you believe it, Paul? Ravi Naidu is business consultant. I spoke to his mate Jay this morning. Yes. And only problem I got with Ravi, he's a Liverpool supporter, but still well done to him. Paul, if Fulham hadn't have burgled a last-minute winner on Saturday, Ravi would have won it on Man United. So Notts Forest was a brilliant pick.
So he deserves to win it.
Paul, you know, he's got to round 12.
How can Derek Ramsey, Dirk, how can Dirk still begin to last?
Paul, of all your mates.
Yes.
If this guy, if Derek wins it, you will never hear the end of it.
This has got to be a tough call. Whoa, how did he get this far?
11 rounds, brilliant, Paul.
Yeah, but sure, I wonder who's going to go in there. And Dave Harker.
Yeah, Paul, one of my Pirates mates, only team he supports is his family. He's got 2 brothers, 2 sons that are in fantasy, so I'm sure they're advising him, but he's done great, Dave. And I'll see him tomorrow. Okay.
And when do these games get played?
Next weekend, Paul. Start of the next competition is January the 14th, which is next Saturday. So the guys will, the FA Cup this weekend.
FA Cup.
So,
special mentions, is this from round 10?
This is from the guys that went out, Paul, last night,
Julie Usher was the only woman.
Yeah.
Georgie, previous winner, George Salensis. Conor McNeil. Eric Narak came a long way.
Yeah.
Blaine Hamilton came a long way. Greg Veal, Peter Barker, my Spurs boy. I spoke to Peter when I was at Brentford.
Okay.
Mark Curry, he's always one of the favourites. Steve Potter, and the unnamed Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, yeah. Paul, to get 10 rounds, we know how hard it is to get a few rounds. They got 10 rounds, Paul. So deserve a mention.
Very good. Right, Stevie, be about.
Well, the way Fulham are going, I'm sure you've been up at 5 o'clock this morning waiting for the call.
Yeah, gee.
Morning, Steve. How you going?
I'm fine. Yeah, just been watching a rerun of our three matches that we've won in a row. So, no, it's been a very good post-Christmas for Fulham, no question.
Yeah, no doubt. I watched a lot of it. I think the crossbar will still be ringing at the Leicester. Jeez, what a great shot he hit. But anyway, it's going for you, Steve. Just one question. Mitrovic, is it and Paulina out for your next league game, or was it just Mitrovic?
No, just Mitrovic. Okay. He's the only one on 5. Yeah. Palhinha has already served a 1-match suspension. He got booked. He got booked sort of 5 times earlier in the season. So yeah, it's a real shame because our next league game is a rearranged game home to Chelsea next Thursday evening, and I think with Mitrovic, I think you had half a chance of getting something. I think it would be a bit harder because you can see him bullying their defence.
Yeah. Keep him off the penalties, Steve.
Yeah, they're saying that, Steve. You rest him this week.
It's interesting. Yeah.
How many has he missed?
I think we will.
Is that penalty?
He's missed 2. He scored 3, missed 2.
Okay. All right.
Steve, on to the midweek round. We start with Liverpool. I thought they were terrible. I don't know what Klopp's idea is of playing this high back line. I know Paul mentioned it earlier about Brentford, the tight little pitch, but it could have been 4-0, even though Liverpool had 2 great chances to go ahead.
We always say Benteke offside. Nunes is always offside.
Yeah. They were just all over the place from those set pieces in the first half. And now, obviously, with Van Dijk out injured potentially for a little while, they don't think it's serious, but they're not quite sure, so he won't be available for a week or two. They just looked all over the place. I don't think he quite knows what his best 11 are. Look, we know they've got injuries. There's no question. They're missing Louise and Jota, but even so, they've still got a reasonable squad, and they should be doing better than they are. But that's a pretty poor result, and the top two, I think it's definitely going to elude them.
Yeah, watching it, Steve, I watched it in the Booth's Lounge, and I said to him, don't expect much from this ground. Man City mustn't expect much. You cannot, it's so tight, they're onto you like good things, and they throw balls forward. Their centre-halves, a tall guy who wins just about every header. They get in front, they'll play for time. Michael said, no, we'll roll them. I said, wait and see. There were 7 goals, 1 or 2 disallowed or something,
Very direct, not like Stoke in the old days, in your face. And
I think that's right. I think it is a bit like that. You can't go there and just think you're going to play some pretty football and win. You've got to roll your sleeves up and battle. Yeah, and as you say, United came unstuck. They won at City and they've beaten Liverpool, and outplayed Tottenham for an hour. So fair play to them. Even without Ivan Toney the other day, they were dangerous. So I think that's a bit of a wake up call for Klopp. They've dropped more points than they did in the entirety of last season already.
Right.
So
the only thing is, Steve, it's been coming. I watch Liverpool a lot, but they've got no midfield players. Thiago can't run. Fabinho's lost a yard, and Henderson's the only guy trying, but.
He can't mark. He created the goal bunch, but free headers for the new striker. Uwisa had 2-3 free headers. He's standing 2 meters behind him. He can't defend.
I blame Klopp.
Yeah.
Anyway, the top of the league clash in midweek was Arsenal-Newcastle.
Yeah.
Steve, you watched that. What do you think?
Well, Arsenal started fast, as they often do, and I thought that they were going to score. But actually, as the game wore on, Newcastle just dug in. They made it hard for them. And Arsenal probably had the edge, but Newcastle are a hard team to beat. They just put their, they just work hard, and in the end they just cancel each other out. And, I guess the only one who gained from that is possibly City. If they win tonight, they close the gap a little bit.
Yeah.
So
That's true. I must say, I think the best signings being Nick Pope. At Burnley, he was instrumental in keeping them up. I think he's been brilliant, and I think he's the best England goalkeeper. But obviously, the way Pickford's been playing for England, he won't get dropped. Steve, I watched your boys against Leicester. Deserved goal, superb goal from Mitrovic. I thought hanging on in the end, but great 3 points.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was, as I say, we've won three in a row. It's made a huge difference, and for us. Obviously, we still look down rather than up, and we're 13 points clear of the bottom 3. And at this stage of the season, that's quite a decent gap. So obviously, we'll miss Mitrovic, suspended for the one league game coming up. But we've been a little bit fortunate with injuries recently. So we've got most of our squad back fit. And I think we don't have a big squad, and we are looking to bring 1 or 2 in. But I thought the difference between the two sides were Tielemans, and you can understand why Leicester fans don't want him to go. I think he is with Maddison out, he makes their midfield tick, and I can't believe that Leicester could contemplate selling him in January. But you can see why.
Anyway, the other 2 results, Everton 1, Brighton 4, and Man United 3, Bournemouth 0. Not the best of games. I can't believe how Bournemouth can't defend. The first goal was a joke. Second goal was outstanding from Luke Shaw. And United are looking a lot better. We've got bigger tests to come. I think it's Arsenal and Man City our next 2 games. So that'll be interesting. That'll be really, really tough for my boys. Anyway, Southampton, Notts Forest, Steve. I watched a bit of it. Can't believe how Southampton couldn't score. Cost me a few £100 in the bet. Forest, like they did against Chelsea, they hung in. They have a go, that team. I don't see them going down. So that's a problem for the rest of them. But I like Steve Cooper. I like the way he gets his teams organised. And I think he's finally got his best 13, 14 players. So it'll be key to see what he does in the Cup. Paul, Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 4. Let's hear it.
Well, first 20 minutes, all Spurs. Spurs were rolling. Next 20 minutes, all Palace. Palace rolled. I thought, here we go again. Good ball played into boy up front, he managed to turn long lay slightly. Hit us fairly straight at the keeper.
Yeah.
Routine save, but if he'd been going the other foot, he might have beaten him. And then there was a long range one from Anderson. That was all they had. And we had looked like we had a chance when we were playing. And second half, they had the first bite. First minute of the second half, they could have scored. And we went up the field and scored.
Yeah.
And then they started playing. Kane, it was a great ball of Kane. Kane's had a second goal. You know, Gill played him in, and suddenly we were 2-0 and we were cruising. They came at us, we went 3-0. Song, I worked him out. He was unsighted first off. Gill did so much more than him. Song is a player that plays well for Spurs when the opposition have to attack us. Just give him a bit of space with his speed, get him in space. Him and Kane linked up again and they got a goal, you know. So I think they deserved to win in the end. It looks like a big hiding, but it wasn't.
All right. Other games, Aston Villa Wolves. You know, Aston Villa, the boys who went out in last one standing, they got a run away in the last minute to win it for them and bottled it. And Leeds West Ham, what's the second half of it? What a good game. You know, if anyone thinks David Moyes is getting fired, miles away. Leeds could have sneaked it in the end, but 2-2, good result, Paul.
Is Moyes not under pressure?
No, I don't think he is. You just have a look at the effort his team.
They were 6 last year.
Yeah, they were 6. They've got terrible home form. I think it's 6 games in a row. They've only got 1 point from 5 league games. When you watch them, Paul, they could have won, but I don't think David Moyes is. Well, if he is, I'd hate to say what Frank Lampard is. Steve, before we go on to the FA Cup, you know, I went on to the Liverpool Echo just to see what the Everton fans had to say. And one of the clips had 2 staunch Evertonians who've watched him all their lives. And they are saying, you cannot blame Frank Lampard for this mess. They're blaming the board, the players that they brought in. And even if they do fire Frank Lampard, it's not going to change until they do something with the board. What are the newspapers saying in England?
Yeah, I think that seems to be... it's interesting because obviously most clubs blame the manager, but again, watching the highlights, and all you could hear in the background for the Everton fans was sack the board, not Lampard out. You know, they have wasted a lot of money on players that have been, you know, hugely disappointing. So, you know, obviously, you know, Lampard has been instrumental in bringing 1 or 2 in. Really, you know, majority of the most expensive players were sort of predated him. Now, whether or not they have any money available in January, you know, that's the key, because I think at the moment, you know, their squad is thin, and I think they probably have to sell before they can buy. Yeah. There's a lot of talk in the paper this morning about Rooney on the short list to come into Everton, or Martinez to come back. But as you say, you know, just swapping manager might not change things if you've got the same squad there. So, yeah, he's under pressure. There's no question, Frank Lampard. You know, and that was a poor defeat this week to Brighton. I mean, you know, to lose at home is bad enough, but they were completely outplayed, and I think that's you know, I think another couple of heavy defeats, and I think that could be curtains.
Steve, before we go, sorry, Paul.
So I'm going to ask him about Chelsea tonight.
Chelsea, Man City tonight.
Yeah,
big game.
Yeah, huge game. I mean, City obviously have an opportunity to close the gap. They can't afford not to. Yeah. Chelsea played quite well against Bournemouth last week. It's going to be interesting because, again, I still don't think Potter knows his best 11. City played Chelsea twice because they played in the cup as well. But I think Pep will play his absolute strongest side available tonight and rotate a little bit in the cup. And I think City, obviously, based on the way the season's going, I think City will start as favourites, but I don't think it'll be easy. I think they'll win, but maybe by not more than 1.
All right. Steve, before we're going to get the FA Cup betting now, we know the Premiership managers are going to rotate. What are the chances of the Championship guys rotating? I remember last year Preston did it and several of the teams near the top did it, but with 3 games, the Championship don't play in the next 2 midweeks. So you think they'll play their best team, or you think they will rotate as well?
Well, I hope they do play their strongest team, because otherwise, if you've got a Championship team rotating against a Premier League team, they just generally don't have the squad to compete, and it just makes a mockery of it. You know, it's a shame because the fans would love to see a cup run. You know, especially for smaller teams. It's an opportunity for the clubs to make money as well. So, yeah, it would be very disappointing. You know, you expect the Premier League teams to rotate. You know, I fully expect Fulham to rotate. There's no question. And I think they virtually all. You know, though teams like City have got a big squad, so he rotates. Still puts out a strong team. Yeah. But I can't. Overall, I can't see that many shocks this weekend. You know, as you might have had in years gone by, which is a shame because, you know, the beauty of the cup is that it's an opportunity for the smaller teams to, you know, to entertain bigger teams at home and maybe beat them. So.
All right. Anyway, guys, let's get the FA Cup, and it kicks off on Friday night with Lancashire Derby, a big premiership battle between Man United and Everton. Steve, I know United, I think they're going to play a fairly strong team, Man United. I know we play the League Cup Charlton next week, Tuesday. But I think the manager, Ten Hag, wants to have a full dip at all the competitions. I think he's going to play a strong team. And we know about Everton. Frank Lampard loves, I think he's won the cup other than Ashley Cole, more as many guys. I think this is going to be a tight game, Steve. Do you think United will roll them over?
I think United will win. I think you're right. I think it will be close. I think United will rotate a few, but again, he will play a strong team, and I think Frank can't afford to lose this one badly. I think that he'll put out a strong side. You know, there's nothing worse than you know, just keep losing. And I think that after their sort of battling performance at City, you think away from home he'd put out a strong side. So, yes, I think it'll be close. I mean, I hope it's a good game. You know, obviously two big teams who have won the cup between them many times. But I think United should probably just have the edge.
Yeah, I don't know, just 5-10 doesn't look appetizing for me. I'll be going the bookings right. Paul, Tottenham surely got to be too good at home against Portsmouth?
No, Portsmouth. I cannot see them. If they come away with a goal, they'll have done well. Yeah. No, I can't see it. Tottenham will be too strong. At any moment now, we're going to get Bentancur, Real Charlotteson, and Kulusevski back.
Yeah.
And they're three good players.
Yeah. The bet I saw there was both teams to score no and over 2.5 goals. I think it was 2-1. But I just never know. I couldn't take that bet because the Spurs last night.
I can't see Portsmouth scoring.
You never know. You never know, Paul. But I totally agree. This should be a 4-5-0, especially after last.
They got beat the other day, Portsmouth.
Yeah, they haven't won in 9, Portsmouth. So then I can't see them. Got to be Spurs 1-7. Steve, Leicester. Now they're playing Newcastle in the League Cup in midweek. Do you think he's going to play a full side? I said I watched him against Fulham. There's something amiss in that team. Yeah, but surely they've got to win at Gillingham.
Well, you would think so. I think he will rotate one or two, but Gillingham are bottom of League Two.
Yeah.
And I would be very surprised. I mean, they had a good run in the League Cup, Gillingham, but I would be very surprised if it's anything other than a Leicester win.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I looked at Leicester to score over 2.5 goals at even money, and they caught me in the League Cup earlier on. They played a poor team and they won 2-0. But I just wonder if he's going to arrest a lot of the guys for Newcastle away in the League Cup in midweek. But 1-5, I know a lot of guys are going to put it in there, their multiples, but not for me. Now I was all over Crystal Palace. They're in every one of my bets, even though they got beat 5-0 last night, Paul. So is it 4-0? I thought it was. I must have said goal disallowed. I watched a lot of Southampton. They are going down, and if Crystal Palace can't beat Southampton at home, then I'm entitled to lose my money. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Patrick Vieira will be looking for a bit of a reaction after that performance against Spurs. They didn't play that badly, as you say. It wasn't really a 4-0 game, but Southampton are poor. I don't know whether or not Nathan Jones is going to rotate, because obviously the league is their priority to stay up. Yeah. And I think if he does rest one or two, I think Palace should win that. And I'd be surprised other than a home win.
Yeah, they also play Man City in the League Cup on Wednesday, so I don't think Paul, would you take even money Palace after what you saw last night?
Yeah, they're a good side. Southampton worry me. They can score again on the break and free kicks, things like that, but the only one they're going to rotate is the manager. You can't seem to get them to play, get a result.
Yeah, I just think without James Ward-Prowse, Southampton are nowhere. So I think they're going down. Sad for a couple of Southampton guys that we know. Middlesbrough-Brighton, I think this will be a good game, Steve. Michael Carrick's got Middlesbrough going well. Yeah, won 7 and 9, but I've been impressed with Brighton.
Me too.
And they're my outside pick at 28 to 1 to win the FA Cup. I just think they will concentrate on it, Steve. How do you see that game going? That should be a good game.
I think it will be, and I think it is going to be determined by who rotates.
Yeah.
Borough are on a really good run and force their way up the table. If they play their stronger side, I think that they will give Brighton a good game. I'm worried that Michael Carrick will rotate will rotate the squad, in which case I think Brighton will win. But it's the sort of game that if Roberto De Zerbi decides to rest a few of his key Brighton players, Middlesbrough have a chance. I think if there was to be an upset, potentially this could be one based on sort of the way Borough are playing. But again, if Brighton play their stronger side, then I think they'll be too strong. So, the odds are always going to be skewed in favour of the Premiership team, but I think Middlesbrough could give them a good game.
Yeah, my reasoning with Brighton is they're at the League Cup. They got beat by Charlton on penalties, and according they are going to keep hold of McAllister and Kacheda in the midfield. They've got a few good players, and why not have a go? That's my thing. And they could go anywhere. Absolutely. They were lucky against Arsenal. I know they got beat 4-2, but they could have scored 5 or 6.
Geez, at least. They made it 3-all.
Jeez, they really played well.
It 3-all and it's a foot offside.
Was it that? Is he South Korean or is
Something
he a
like
Japanese?
That. Yeah, he would have been his second goal.
Play that guy. So I'm all over Brighton. I'm a bit scared about lumping 6 to 10 into our bets this week, but I'd rather take 28 to 1 them to win the cup. On to the next page, where I think this is the game that could be the upset with the Premiership teams. I fancy Burnley to win at Bournemouth. But like you, Steve, I just worry, Vincent Kompany may rotate. But he did that against Man United in the League Cup, and they put a decent performance in. I think 19 to 10 is a good price. I'm going to be waiting for their team to come out because I can't have Bournemouth. They are woeful.
Is that bad?
Yeah. I agree. I think if the company looks at that league table, they really are clear at the moment, and why not have a cup run? And this is an opportunity for them to do so. I think he might rotate a bit, but I think again Bournemouth haven't got a strong squad. They did play when Bournemouth were in the League Cup earlier against. They played a very strong side against Everton and beat them, who rotated. Yeah. Bournemouth again, they're having a bad run. And Gary O'Neill, I think, is under a bit of pressure, even though they only gave him an 18-month contract 6 weeks ago or so. I'm not sure that he will last the 18 months if they went down. So I fancy again, if there was to be a shock, I think this is definitely one that the Championship team could win.
Yeah, I think Gary O'Neill somebody will replace him in early January, because what I've seen from them against Palace was woeful. Against United, they'd 1 or 2 chances, but they're in serious trouble. I think them and Southampton are baba. But I think if they don't get a manager in there soon, I think that they're gone. So I'm agreeing with you. I fancy Burnley. Next game is Blackpool, Notts Forest. I've watched Blackpool the last couple of games in the Championship. It's been on ESPN. They have a go. It's a tight little stadium, but I've been impressed with Notts Forest recently, and I know they've got a the quarter-final of the Cup in midweek. I think they're on a bit of a roll, and I fancy Forest to get through here. Steve, what do you think?
I would think so. Look, everyone laughed at the amount that Forest were buying in the summer. The sort of 22 or whatever it was, but they've got a strong squad. They've got a few out injured, but I think that's their squad gives them the opportunity to have a run in the cup. Yeah. So I would be surprised if it's anything other than a Forest away win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think 8 to 10 is a good thing. Steve, I'm worried about Fulham at Hull City. I know Hull City got terrible home form, but I think you guys have got one eye on Europe this year and may take you off the cup. What do you think?
Well, I think there's no question that he will rotate. He gave the impression in his post-match interview the other night that he will rest a few. I don't think he'll rotate the entire team, but I think he will rotate the key players because we have 2 big games coming up: a rearranged league game next Thursday against Chelsea, and then away at Newcastle on Sunday. So I think he will rotate, and I think that gives if Hull. Liam Rosenior plays a strong side, I think that's going to be a bit closer than the odds show. So, I'd be disappointed if we went out because we still have, squad players who should do a job. But when he rotated in the League Cup at Crawley, we were beaten by them. So I think Hull have got. I think the odds are definitely in favour of Fulham, but I think it's going to be a much closer game.
Yeah, I agree. I can't take Fulham 5-10. The next game, I think, is going to be a cracker. Brentford are on great form at home against a West Ham team. Now, they played a couple of weeks ago and Brentford beat them. I think 23-10 the draw. I think this could go to a replay, Steve. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, West Ham are slightly better away from home than they are at home. And I think that David Moyes is going to want to. I think he's going to want, after last night's sort of battling draw, I think he's going to put out a strong side. Yeah, they've got a decent squad, West Ham. When you looked at their bench last night, they've got some good players on there. I think that hopefully it'll be a good open game. I mean, Brentford are in a good position at the moment.
A long, strong, physical, sharp game.
Yeah. But I think West Ham will put up a fight. I think that Moyes isn't going to want to lose. He's going to rest all his key players and lose this one badly. So I think it will be a very close game.
Yeah, I agree. We went both teams to score 8-10 in all our bets. David Moyes is going to have a go here, and I don't know if there's bad blood between the two sides, but I think this is going to be a fiery affair, and get on the bookings, and I think there could be a red card or two here. Sheffield Wednesday at home against Newcastle. Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, always tough to beat, but Newcastle, who play in midweek, they play Leicester in the League Cup on Wednesday. No doubt he's going to rotate his squad here, Steve. I think 4-10 short, even though they should win.
I think it's thin.
Yeah, how do you see it? Which way would you throw the draw in, or?
Yeah, look. Possibly, I think he will rotate anyhow. But again, they've got the squad strong enough. I mean, when are on a really good run and they're strong at home, you would hope that Wednesday will play their strongest available team, because if they don't, then it's a mismatch. But if they do, I think they'll give Newcastle. I think Eddie Howe would like a cup run, but I think he will prioritise the league at the moment because of their position. So I think Newcastle should win, but it may be by just literally the odd goal.
Yeah, okay. Big game Saturday night is Liverpool at home against an improving Wolves. I can't believe Liverpool are 3-10, Steve. I know that's obviously bookmakers hand in heart, and they played on Monday and the guys are expecting a rebound, but Wolves have improved. Yeah, they got... you can't say this will be an upset, but this is going to be a lot closer than the betting suggests. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that Klopp will probably rotate a little bit. He hasn't got that much to work with because of injuries, but I think he might rest one or two, as he has done in the Cup before. Yeah. And it depends whether if Wolves play a strongest 11, I think they'll give them a really good game. They've won 2 of their 3, and at times are a little bit unlucky against United. So he's definitely they're definitely making themselves harder to beat at the moment. And bar Danny Ings' late goal, they look as if they were going to win last night. So I fancy that to be very close. As you say, that on paper the bookmakers look at it and say, well, Liverpool should win easily, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I'm just not impressed Liverpool's midfield. And one thing Wolves have got is good midfield players. Matinho, Neves. I think this is going to be a game. But I know 3-10 is short, but...
Is Henderson back?
You never know. Just got to wait for the teams, Paul, But you'd think he'll play if he's available. Now, Leeds United, I've watched them the last few weeks. The results haven't been great, but geez, do they have a go. Steve, I was going to make them one of my best... Well, they are one of my best bets, 9-10. I think they'll beat Cardiff. Steve, do you agree?
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, if they don't, he may rotate a little bit, Jesse March, but I think they'll be too strong for Cardiff. Cardiff have not shown much form recently. Depends again if Cardiff put out their strongest 11. It'll be a closer game, but I think whatever side Cardiff put out, I think Leeds should be too strong.
Yeah, I just think Leeds are under pressure. They haven't won too many, lost 5 or 7 away from home. So he's going to have a full go. And I think 9-10 is a great price. Now, Man City, Chelsea, Steve. I just can't have Chelsea. I've watched them the last few weeks. Even when they beat Bournemouth were woeful. Yeah. Man City, if they ramp it up, I think this is going to be a bit of a hiding. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think City. Pep will rotate, but he's got so many good players that I think he will play a slightly different side than plays tonight in the league. But I think they'll still be too strong for Chelsea. So, and I wonder whether or not Graham Potter will rotate as well. If they do, they don't have the strength and depth in their squad. So, I think City by a couple of goals on at the weekend.
All right, Aston Villa, too strong for Stevenage?
Yeah, they should be. Stevenage are having a great season. I mean, they're sitting second in League Two after nearly going out the league. So, they'll have a go. I'd love to. Stevenage will put out their strongest available side. I suspect Villa will rotate, but you'd still think that Villa have got the squad and the players to win. So I would expect Villa to win, but hopefully Stevenage will give them a good game.
Yeah, and
Steve, before you go there, where does Stevenage play out of? Where they're based?
They're just north of London. Stevenage is just north of London.
Okay, thank you.
They drew the other day. I backed a team. I think that was at Leyton Orient. They drew 0-0 in the top of the league clash the other day. Yeah. And last but not least, Steve, Oxford, can they score against Arsenal?
That will be tough. They could do. I think Arteta will rotate a bit, but he's got a decent squad and they will be too strong. Oxford have got nothing to lose. They might as well play their stronger part and have a go. And if, I think Arsenal will win comfortably, but if they score a goal, then that's that will be the highlight of their day. So I could see something like a sort of 3 or 4-1 win to Arsenal. Yeah,
I just saw the odds thing was 5-2. Arsenal win both teams to score. So when I'm looking at those type of games to watch, always try and funk for the underdog to try and score. So that's the reason I ask you, Steve. Pressure time a game. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many to choose from because there are so many sort of potential mismatches. But I'm going to go. I was tempted to go for Leeds, but I think I'm going to go for Palace as my best bet. Okay. And my value bet, I'm going to go for Burnley. I just think if they play as they are, they've got a good chance. So,
Steve, I hate to tell you this, but fools never differ. I'm waiting for Paul. Mine are the same, and we've got, as I say, the odds limit which way we can go. And I was going to go Leeds United best bet, but I've committed to Palace until the second half, dismantling by Spurs. But I still think they'll be too good for Southampton. Steve, last but not least, FA Cup upset. If ever there's a Premiership team other than Bournemouth was going to go out, which one do you think it'll be?
Well, the only other one I thought was if they play their strongest available side is Middlesbrough. Could upset Brighton if Roberto De Zerbi sort of rest the few. Obviously, if Brighton play their stronger side, then no. It's a shame because in the old days, you would normally expect obviously lower in some of the games you haven't covered where you've got Championship teams playing League One teams, there could be an upset. But I can't see. I think the only sort of upsets, the big games really, there's quite a few Premiership teams playing each other. Yeah. So we are going to see a few going out, which obviously makes the fourth round draw interesting as well. Yeah. So we like to see underdogs go through in the early rounds. It just makes it interesting. But I can't see some of the games we've just covered. I can't see those Premiership teams losing to Championship teams unless they really they bring in kids rather than their best squad players. Yeah.
So that could be the other one.
Enjoy your warm weather.
Steve, thanks again. And my upset, I think Fulham could be the trick team, especially if you rest all your players. And Liam was at Racine, he'll be looking to cause another upset. But that's the only one, Steve. Thanks again, Steve. Speak to you over the weekend.
Alrighty, Budge. PSL. I haven't watched these games. I've been away.
I watched quite a few of them.
Cape Town City lost
Paul,
to SuperSport.
People talk about our era and the modern era. The biggest difference, in my opinion, are the pitches. The pitches today are carpets, but this was like a pitch in the older. They played at the Cape Town Stadium, Paul. The pitch was terrible. It was raining, and the ball was never on the carpet. I felt for the players. I went both teams to score looking, and the only reason why they scored, Gavin's teams are more direct. And Cape Town City, a footballing team, They're going to struggle if they're going to play at that stadium, Paul.
Sorted out, the
But,
stadium.
Paul, you know, they've got the rugby, they've been playing sevens, the Stormers, everyone plays there, where beforehand the rugby played at Newlands, and that was a soccer pitch. Paul, it was terrible. But good result, but they've got to sort the pitch out. Terrible. Sekhukhune beat Maruma Gallops. Paul, it wasn't on. So, I watched the Cape Town City game, and I watched Sundowns. I took 3-0, funking to win a few R100. 2-0. I was puking when they never went for the third goal. But top team, Paul. They'll go close to winning the African Cup of Nations. Not Cup of Nations, but the Champions League. Good team, slick team, Paul.
Right, but let's look at the fixtures.
Yeah, Paul kicks off on Friday. Once you get the odds up. Big game. Swallows Chipper. I like Chipper of the two teams. Obviously, the draw in the PSL is a major player because we don't score too many goals. Ernst Biddendorf's at Swallows. I watched them against Sundowns. They did offer 1 or 2 chances, Paul, but he parked the bus looking for a point. I think there'll be goals in this game, but Chipper in the draw for me there, Paul.
Swallows changed managers, eh?
Yeah, well, we were hoping to get Dylan, Paul, but unfortunately, I don't know what happened.
Egerson's been there. Yeah, there've been a few.
Gavin Hunt, I think, was there as well.
There've been a few.
Yeah, Sundowns, Paul, 6-10. Richards Bay have conceded 4 goals in the last 9 league games. But they second, Paul, they're going to have to be, but I still think Sundowns will destroy them. Top team Sundowns,
Where
Paul.
would they play that game?
Paul, they played in Umlazi, to the stadium there. I know they were waiting to move to the stadium in Richards Bay, but they've been playing all the games in Umlazi.
Arrows Supersport?
Paul, yes. Yeah, they played in mid on Tuesday, Supersport. I don't see Supersport losing, Paul. I watched Arrows against Chiefs. Chiefs scored 2 goals. Arrows came back into it, but maybe it was a layoff. But the 22-10, the draw. I don't see Supersport getting beat, Paul.
Maruma Gallants.
I like Maruma Gallants, Paul. Their last 11 games at home, Paul. They've won 1, I think, and drawn 10. But Maritzburg are woeful. Can't have Maritzburg. Yeah, I fancy Maruma Gallants.
Who's taking Maritzburg now?
Oh, Paul, they've chopped over a new manager and they fire their managers all the time. But, it's going to catch up with them. Yeah. But Maruma Gallants for me, Paul, 17-10. I fancy them.
Good game, City Pirates.
It should be, Paul, but playing at that stadium, Pirates, the new Spanish coach, a draw will be tight, Paul. I felt for Eric Tinkler. They made 1 mistake and Grobler scored. But it should be a good game. I just hope they sort the pitch out. But 18-10, the draw for me there.
Chiefs?
Paul, Chiefs have come well. They've won 5 of the last 7s. They're in 4th place. Sekhukhune hadn't won for ages. Away from home, they struggle. I don't see Chiefs getting beat, Paul, but obviously the draws are players, I've said many a time. So Chiefs in a draw for me there.
AmaZulu?
Well, local derby, Paul. Royal AM, they played at Chatsworth. They were involved with the CAF Champions League, Royal AM. Last year they finished 2nd. This year they're struggling. Nice. Draw an AmaZulu for me there, Paul.
Okay, and then TS Galaxy, Stellenbosch.
Paul, likewise, I hope there's goals. I'll be watching that. We've put both teams to score at 13-10. I think there'll be goals in that. TS Galaxy, hard to beat at home, Paul. But Stellenbosch, that's Steve Barker's team. They always have a go, Paul.
You're right.
So a draw on TS Galaxy for me there.
Draw on TS Galaxy. Okay, let's have a look at this new...
this is our Score 6, Paul, the Gold Circle Initiative.
Is it a new one?
It's the one that I select. So anyway, we've got to...
So you pick the games,
I pick the games, Paul, yeah.
Excellent.
The first game I'm banking Crystal Palace to beat Southampton. I'm going Burnley win and draw at Bournemouth. I've thrown the draw in with Fulham against Hull City. I don't see Brighton losing at Middlesbrough. I'm going Brentford win and draw at home against West Ham. And I've thrown the draw in with Liverpool at home against Wolves, 192. On to our Pumalela Soccer 6. I'm banking Crystal Palace to beat Southampton. I'm going Watford win and draw at Reading. Going with Supersport United to avoid defeat against Golden Arrows. Maruma Gallants win and draw at home against Maritzburg United. I'm siding with Pirates to avoid defeat against Cape Town City. And I've thrown the draw in with Kaizer Chiefs at home against Sekhukhune United, 192. Alrighty. On to our Score 10 bet. I'm banking Crystal Palace to beat Southampton, Leicester to beat Gillingham, Tottenham to beat Portsmouth, Notts Forest to beat Blackpool. I'm going Burnley win and draw at Bournemouth. Onto the second page, I'm going Fulham win and draw at Hull City. I'm going the field just in case Brighton play a squad side. I'm going the field in the Middlesbrough, Brighton and Brentford, West Ham fixtures. Newcastle throwing the draw and looking for the upset. Win and draw at Sheffield Wednesday. And I'm going Liverpool. Win and draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers, 288.
Okie dokie.
On to the Soccer 13. I'm going Liverpool. Win and draw at home against Wolves. Brentford. Win and draw at home against West Ham. Brighton to beat Middlesbrough. Fulham. Win and draw at Hull City. Newcastle to beat Sheffield Wednesday. Notts Forest to win at Blackpool. Burnley win and draw at Bournemouth. The second page sees us chance Millwall to beat Sheffield United, hoping Sheffield United, because they're going well, will rotate their team, which I think they will do. QPR win and draw at Fleetwood Town. Banking Ipswich Town to beat Rotherham. Sunderland win and draw at Shrewsbury Town. Another away win and draw. Burton Albion at Grimsby Town, and banking Luton Town to win at home against Wigan, 288. Yeah.
Okay, Bud, your best bets.
Yeah, Paul, got to invent a few here because we're limited as far as the games go. But I'm going Crystal Palace to beat Southampton and over 2.5 total goals. I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no in the Aston Villa Stevenage game.
3-0 Villa.
Yeah, I think it was 24-10 the bet. And I'm going Leeds to win at Cardiff, Paul, 3,500 to 200. FA Cup team goals only. I'm going Crystal Palace, Burnley, Notts Forest and Leeds United, all to score over 1.5 goals, 3,300 to 200. FA Cup, both teams to score sides are Preston Huddersfield, Brentford West Ham, Millwall Sheffield United and Bristol City Swansea, 2,500 to 200. Paul, I always like to have a dip on an FA Cup winner so we can, if they do arrive, we win a few rand. My double this week at 50 to 1 is both teams to score in the Brentford West Ham game and Brighton to win the cup, 10,000 to 200.
Go Brighton.
On the PSL side, I'm going Mamelodi Sundowns to beat Richards Bay, Maruma Gallants to beat Maritzburg United, Supersport +1 handicap, that's win or draw Supersport, and both teams to score in the TS Galaxy Stellenbosch game, 2,800 to 200, and our Collis King 6 or next, I'm going Palace to beat Southampton, Tottenham to beat Gillingham, Notts Forest to beat Blackpool. Yep. So you're playing the. They play no. So Tottenham to beat whoever. Notts Forest to beat Blackpool. Coventry City to beat Wrexham. Leeds to beat Cardiff, and Mamelodi Sundowns to beat Richards Bay. So I'll just get that back. But it's Tottenham to win on Saturday. They're playing a lesser team. My apologies.
Yeah,
but 4,800 to 200. They won to it's Portsmouth. Sorry, it's to beat Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, that's right.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, no problem. I knew it was we're going to go down Pompey. We've got to play Pompey. Budget looks good. I've got to say I like some of these bets in here a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
and you've been on form. You've been consistent.
Yeah, Paul. Spurs cost us not scoring. I nearly puked.
I was there just putting down the beers. Charlie took me up to the box on top, so it's right above the game. You're on the halfway line. Yeah. Amazing. You can watching the game, and you can see the move.
Yeah.
You've got to pass it there.
Yeah, that's what's nice to sit up high and watch. Paul. Tactically, you can see everything.
And then if you go down lower, you're close to players.
Yeah.
You can hear them talking, swearing.
It's a great stadium, Paul.
Oh, football, carpet.
They've got a pitch, Paul. Is it retractable? Where the American
I don't know
football
if it's retractable.
The pitch went out and the American football came in.
Concerts, boxing tournaments, American football. Yeah.
Because they've changed the grass. Because I know the American football guys were moaning. They played in Munich and they were crying about the actual grass, the pitch itself.
Fantastic. No. It's the best stadium I've been to. Wow, it's fantastic. But that's that. But let's see, last one standing, three guys. And it's played on the 14th.
Next weekend when we start the next competition.
Yeah.
So the three guys. The only problem is that they've all basically got the same teams to use because they've gone so many rounds. So I think we may have a week or this next week where they're all on the same team. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yes.
But you never know, Paul.
You never know. You can't stop them.
No.
And as they say about Nunes, until next time, stay on side.